Hi, I'm Alex Guns, the fund manager of the Heptagon Future Trends Equity Fund, and I'm here today to talk to you about our latest theme piece. Today we're here to discuss the future of homes or sustainable housing. The problem at hand is a very simple one. Homes are among the biggest polluters in the world, and yet we need more of them. When you look at the data, it's quite astounding. We're going to need to build about 60,000 new homes a day for the rest of this century. That's about 2 billion new homes by 2100. That's really a function of demographics, urbanization, and changing income. So a lot of homes are going to need to be built, and the problem is that nearly every home being built today is actually environmentally very unfriendly. If you think about what goes into homes, the key pillars, if you will, of modern society, cement and steel both come from fossil fuels. As a result, they're very big emitters of carbon. If you take buildings as a whole, they're responsible for about 35% of all carbon emissions. And if you were to take cement as a country, then it would be the third biggest emitter of carbon in the world after the US and China. Now, there is good news, and the good news is as follows. There are two solutions which we think can help solve this problem and make homes more sustainable. Number one is regulation. Number two is innovation. We take regulation first of all. You can see that many countries around the world are in the process of changing standards. The UK is a really good lead indicator in this respect. The government recently approved the Future Homes Standard, which means very simply that out will go boilers, in will come heat pumps, and every new build will have solar panels on the roof. There's more too, but those are the headlines. And when we look around the world, we can see similar legislation underway in the EU, in certain states in the US, and in countries as diverse as Japan and India. When we think about innovation, there's absolutely no shortage of innovation, both in terms of changing existing properties, retrofitting these properties, and in terms of developing new properties from scratch. We've covered a little bit of this already, talking about heat pumps, talking about solar panels, but there's an awful lot more. Think about wastewater systems, think about smart controls, think about innovative water, and that's just to name a few. Then when we think about new build, we're looking at several developments underway, innovations as diverse as prefabricated buildings, new materials such as timber, and actually the development of carbon neutral or carbon negative properties used from recycled materials. So when we take the market as a whole, I think growth prospects can actually be considered very exciting. When you look at the data, the market for sustainable building materials products should grow by at least 10% between now and the end of the decade, which means on a conservative assumption, it could be worth $600 billion by 2030. On a more optimistic assumption, up to $900 billion. So that's great news, but I think before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we also have to remember some of the limitations or risks. Concepts are great, but installation is a lot more complex. There's costs to bear in mind, both for the materials and indeed for the purchaser of the property. Professionals need to be trained to understand how to deploy new materials efficiently. And then of course there is the consideration, even if individuals move into more sustainable properties, can they be guaranteed to consume energy responsibly? So when we look at the landscape, we have absolutely no doubt that there is a long runway ahead and there are going to be a huge range of opportunities. The field at this stage is very broad, and we think businesses in a diverse range of areas, from construction products through to housing developers, also considering businesses in smart metering, in the technology, in sensors, and across the utility space. There's a very wide field of potential beneficiaries. We're going to continue to monitor the space very carefully. We think that Einstein's words are actually very telling. From every crisis comes a great opportunity, and we would certainly urge listeners to read our report in much more detail. So thank you for listening. The report's available on Heptagon Capital's website, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out either to me or to your representative at Heptagon Capital. Thanks very much.